The discovery. The coffee in Dr. Nadia Volkov's mug had gone cold hours ago, forgotten like sleep itself as she stared at the pulsing patterns on her monitor. The Ganymede research station hummed around her, a symphony of processors, air circulation systems, and the occasional ping of communication relays. Outside the reinforced windows, Jupiter's largest moon presented its icy visage, a perfect isolation for humanity's most advanced xenolinguistics laboratory. Computer, run spectral analysis on sequence Delta 7, prioritize mathematical constants, she commanded, her Russian accent still faintly detectable despite 15 years working for the International Space Coalition. The computer's pleasant voice responded, analysis complete. Sequence contains embedded prime number ratios and what appears to be periodic elements organized by atomic weight, but using a non-standard reference point. Nadia's exhaustion vanished. After 20 years of scanning the cosmos for intelligent signals, something truly extraordinary had appeared. Not the usual pulsars or gravitational anomalies that excited the astronomers down the hall, but patterns that bore the unmistakable fingerprint of intelligence. Call Director Wei, she said, unable to keep the tremor from her voice. Priority Alpha. Marcus Wei had been the director of Ganymede Research Station for only 6 months, but his reputation preceded him. Brilliant physicist, cautious administrator, and notoriously impatient when woken during his sleep cycle. This better be apocalyptic Dr. Volkov. His holographic projection materialized in her office, hair disheveled, eyes narrowed. It's not apocalyptic, Director, it's historic. She transferred the signal data to his personal terminal. The Cassini array picked this up 18 hours ago. It's structured, complex, and definitively non-human in origin. Wei's expression transformed as he studied the data, sleep forgotten. Where is it coming from? That's the thing, Nadia said, pulling up a stellar map. It's not directed at us. Based on trajectory analysis, it's passing through our solar system, from somewhere in the direction of Tau Ceti toward a point beyond the Kuiper belt. Wei was silent for a long moment. We're eavesdropping on someone else's conversation. Precisely, and Director. The signal is degrading. Whatever this message is, it's reaching its end. Within 12 hours, the station buzzed with activity. Director Wei had assembled a specialized team. Dr. Joaquin Flores, the system's foremost cryptographer, Professor Ekaterina Novik, theoretical physicist, and Dr. Dominic Acaffer, exobiologist. The station's normal research was suspended as every computational resource was redirected to analyzing the alien transmission. The mathematical sequences are just the foundation, Joaquin explained during their first full briefing, his hands dancing through holographic representations of the signal. They establish a common language, mathematics being presumably universal, but there's much more embedded within. Like what? Wei asked. Biological information, Dr. Acaffer interjected, his deep voice commanding attention. Complex molecular structures that don't match any Earth biochemistry, and spatial coordinates, lots of them. Nadia nodded. I believe they're communicating distress. The pattern repetition and signal intensity suggest urgency, something about the way the mathematical constants are arranged. It reminds me of warning signals. The door to the conference room slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a tall figure in the charcoal gray uniform of Coalition Military Command. Interesting theory, Doctor. Director Wei stood immediately. Colonel Khatri, we weren't expecting military presence. Colonel Rashid Khatri was the embodiment of military precision, every movement economical, every word measured. When potentially the first confirmation of extraterrestrial intelligence comes across my desk, I make adjustments to my schedule, Director. The signal isn't a threat, Nadia said firmly. It's not even directed at us. Khatri's expression remained neutral. Perhaps, but its mere existence changes everything we know about our place in the universe. That has strategic implications. The tension in the room was palpable until Professor Novik spoke up, her weathered hands manipulating the holographic display. Look at these energy signatures embedded in the transmission. They're describing a propulsion system unlike anything in our theoretical frameworks. Can we respond? Wei asked. Joaquin shook his head. The signal isn't designed for us to answer. It's calibrated for a different receiver with different technological capabilities. But we can decode it, Khatri pressed. Partially, Nadia replied. We've identified about 30% of the content. It's remarkable. She pulled up a new display. They're describing stellar configurations, but from perspectives thousands of light years apart. Whoever they are, they've traveled extensively. Or they're very, very old, Akafer suggested. The next several days passed in a blur of discovery and frustration. The team worked in shifts, piecing together fragments of meaning from the alien communication. Nadia slept little, her mind constantly processing patterns, seeking connections in the complex weave of data. On the fifth day, as the signal continued to fade, she had her breakthrough. "It's a warning," she announced, bursting into the main lab where the others worked. "Not just distress, a specific warning about something approaching." Joquin looked up from his terminal. "How can you be sure?" "These sequences here," she highlighted sections of the transmission, "they repeat in a pattern consistent with danger markers. And these coordinates, they're moving, tracking something." Colonel Khatri, who had established a semi-permanent presence at the station, studied the display with narrowed eyes. "Something dangerous enough to warrant an interstellar warning." "Yes," Nadia said, "and whatever it is, based on these vectors, it's heading in our direction." Director Wei called an emergency conference with Earth Central Command. The holographic chamber filled with projections of humanity's leadership, science directors, military commanders, and government officials from every major nation. "So let me understand this correctly," said United Earth Director Chambers, her holographic form dominating the center of the room. "You've detected an alien signal passing through our system that appears to be warning about a threat, but it's not directed at us." "That's correct," Wei confirmed. "Dr. Volkov believes the message was intended for someone else, possibly an ancient ally or outpost. But whoever they were trying to reach isn't responding," Nadia added. "The signal is degrading as if the conversation is ending." General Harmon, Earth Defense Force commander, leaned forward. "And you're certain this threat, whatever it is heading toward our solar system?" "The coordinates suggest so," Joquin said. "Though without understanding their frame of reference completely, we can't determine exact timing or nature." "Could this be deliberate misinformation?" Colonel Khatri asked. "A way to manipulate a less advanced civilization into responding or revealing ourselves?" Nadia couldn't help but roll her eyes. "That assumes they know we're here and listening, Colonel. All evidence suggests they have no awareness of us." The debate continued for hours, humanity's leaders trying to grapple with implications too vast to fully comprehend. Eventually, Director Chambers made her decision. "We need more information before taking any action. Continue your analysis, but under no circumstances attempt to respond to this signal. We don't know enough to reveal ourselves to whatever is out there." As the holographs winked out, Nadia felt a profound sense of disappointment. They stood at the threshold of humanity's greatest discovery, and caution was keeping them from stepping through. Later that night, unable to sleep, she returned to her lab to find Professor Novak already there, studying the fatting signal. "You disagree with the director's decision," the older woman stated, not looking up. "Don't you?" Nadia asked, sitting beside her. "We finally have proof we're not alone and we're hiding." Novak sighed. "Fear is a powerful motivator, but there's something they haven't considered." She manipulated the display to highlight a particular sequence. "This part of the message contains what I believe are activation codes." "Activation codes for what?" "That," Novak said with a hint of excitement, "is the question. These aren't just mathematical concepts, they're instructions, and they're directed toward coordinates in our own solar system." Nadia felt a chill run down her spine. "You're saying?" "Someone's been here before," Novak finished. "And they left something behind, something that's meant to receive this signal." Before Nadia could respond, Dr. Akafer burst into the lab, his usual composure shattered. "You need to see this," he said, transferring data to their main display. The image resolved into a telescopic view of the outer solar system, focusing on a previously unremarkable object in the Kuiper belt. The small planetoid was glowing, pulsing with the same rhythmic pattern as their mysterious signal. "It's responding," Nadia whispered. "Whatever's out there, it was here all along." As they watched in stunned silence, the object began to change shape, unfolding like a flower opening to the sun. An ancient technology, dormant for millennia perhaps, awakening to answer a call that was never meant for human ears. The warning wasn't just passing through their system, it had found its intended recipient. And it was in humanity's backyard. The response. The Kuiper belt object, now officially designated anomaly KBO 479, pulsed with ethereal blue-green light visible even through the thick viewport of the coalition vessel Hawking. Dr. Nadia Volkov pressed her palm against the cold transparisteel, watching as the previously dormant planetoid continued its transformation. "Remarkable," she whispered. "It's been here the entire time, waiting." Colonel Khatri stood beside her, his military bearing somehow more pronounced in the reduced gravity of the observation deck. "Waiting for what exactly? That's what concerns me." The expedition had been hastily assembled, a joint scientific and military venture to investigate the awakening object. Director Wei had remained on Ganymede to coordinate research efforts, while Professor Novik monitored the deteriorating alien signal. Dr. Akafer, Joquin, and a team of specialists accompanied Nadia aboard the Hawking, along with Colonel Khatri's security contingent. Initial scans show the object is primarily composed of native Kuiper belt materials. Lieutenant Commander Hiroshi Tanaka reported, approaching with a data tablet. The young technician had proven invaluable, his expertise in communication systems giving them their first real insights into the anomaly's emissions. But there are artificial structures throughout, like a nervous system embedded in rock. "Any response to our standard hailing frequencies?" Khatri asked. Hiroshi shook his head. "Nothing, Colonel. It's still only responding to the alien signal pattern." Captain Morgan Chen, the Hawking's commander, joined them at the viewport. "We're maintaining a safe distance as ordered, but the object isn't showing any signs of hostility, just activity." Activity that coincided precisely with the reception of a warning about something threatening, Khatri reminded them. "We should consider withdrawing to a safer position." Nadia turned from the viewport, frustration evident in her voice. "With respect, Colonel, this is the most significant discovery in human history. We can't just retreat because we're afraid." "Fear keeps species alive, Doctor," Khatri replied evenly. The debate was interrupted by Joquin's voice over the ship-wide communication system. "Dr. Volkov to the analysis lab immediately. We've found something." The analysis lab was a chaotic scene of activity. Holographic displays flickered with data streams as the scientific team worked feverishly to interpret the anomaly's emissions. Dr. Akafer had set up a biological containment field, though it remained empty. "Look at this," Joquin said as Nadia entered, pointing to a central display where complex patterns shifted and flowed. "The anomaly isn't just receiving the signal, it's amplifying it and redirecting it." "A relay station," Nadia realized. "Exactly," Joquin nodded. "And it's adding data, massive amounts of it, like it's been collecting information for centuries and is now transmitting it along with the original warning." Dr. Akafer looked up from his own analysis. "The biological markers in the transmission have changed too. The anomaly is adding information about local life forms." "Including us?" Khatri asked sharply, having followed Nadia into the lab. "Almost certainly," Akafer confirmed. "But there's more. These biological sequences in the original message, I believe they're describing a form of genetic degradation. Whatever species sent the warning, they're dying out, some kind of reproductive failure." Nadia felt a wave of sadness. Their first contact with an alien intelligence might be with a species on the brink of extinction. "They're asking for help," she said softly. "That's what this is, a desperate plea for assistance from an ancient ally. An ally who left technology in our solar system without our knowledge," Khatri pointed out. "How many other systems have these beings visited? How many other relay stations are out there?" Before anyone could respond, the ship's alarm sounded, 3 sharp blasts followed by Captain Chen's voice. "All personnel to emergency stations. We're detecting a spatial anomaly forming near the object." The view screens shifted to an exterior view, just in time to show space itself seeming to fold inward approximately 50,000 kilometers from anomaly KBO 479. A shimmering distortion appeared, expanding rapidly into a swirling vortex of energy. "What is that?" Nadia breathed. "Some kind of artificial wormhole," Joquin suggested, his fingers flying across his console. "The energy signatures match theorized requirements for stable spacetime manipulation." Colonel Khatri was already issuing orders through his comm unit. "All defensive systems online, prepare for possible hostile contact." The next few minutes passed in tense silence as the vortex stabilized, a perfect oval of swirling energy against the backdrop of stars. Then slowly something emerged, a vessel unlike anything human eyes had ever seen. It resembled a massive coral structure, organic curves interspersed with crystalline protrusions that caught and reflected the distant sunlight. Size estimate puts it at approximately 3 kilometers in length, reported an officer from the bridge. No recognizable propulsion system, no energy weapons signatures detected. It's damaged, Dr. Akafer observed, pointing to areas of the ship that appeared blackened and malformed. Look at the asymmetry in those structures, they should be uniform based on the overall design. Hiroshi Tanaka, who had been silently monitoring communications, suddenly looked up with wide eyes. It's broadcasting, using the exact frequencies and patterns from the original signal. Can you interpret it? Nadia asked urgently. Working on it, Hiroshi replied, his fingers dancing across his console. It's similar to what we've already decoded, but wait, he looked up face pale, it's addressed to us. Impossible, Khatri said, they couldn't know about us. The relay station, Jo Quinn realized. It must have informed them of our presence when it activated. Captain Chen's voice came through the shipwide system. All scientific personnel report to the command center immediately. The alien vessel is requesting communication. The command center was a hub of controlled chaos when they arrived. Captain Chen stood at the central holographic table, flanked by her officers and Colonel Khatri's security team. The vessel is maintaining position near the anomaly, she informed them. They've been broadcasting continuously since arrival. Dr. Volkov, your expertise is needed. Nadia approached the communications station where Hiroshi worked. What have they sent? Mathematical sequences similar to the original signal but simplified, he explained. And this. He brought up a visual representation, a series of images showing stellar configurations, biological structures, and finally, a representation of two figures facing each other. They want to talk, Nadia said, feeling a surge of excitement. They're offering direct communication. Or they want us to think that, Colonel Khatri countered. We should wait for instructions from Earth Command. Earth Command is 40 minutes away by lightspeed communication, Captain Chen pointed out. We need to make a decision now. Professor Novik's voice came through unexpectedly from their Ganymede link. The original signal has completely degraded. Whatever message was passing through our system, it's ended. Nadia made her decision. Hiroshi, can we respond using their communication protocols? The young technician nodded. I believe so, Doctor. This is against protocol, Khatri warned. We have strict first contact procedures. With respect, Colonel, Nadia replied, they already know we're here. Not responding could be interpreted as hostility. Captain Chen considered for a moment, then nodded. Prepare a response. Mathematical acknowledgement only, as Dr. Volkov suggests. Under Nadia and Joquin's guidance, Hiroshi crafted a simple response. Prime numbers, physical constants, and a basic representation of human DNA structure. Message ready, Hiroshi announced. Send it, Captain Chen ordered. The response was nearly instantaneous. The alien vessel emitted a pulse of energy that expanded outward, washing over the Hawking without effect. The command center displays suddenly changed, resolving into a three-dimensional holographic image unlike anything their systems were designed to create. The being that appeared before them was bipedal but clearly not human. Its body was slender with iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Multiple pairs of jointed limbs extended from a central torso, and what appeared to be sensory organs clustered around the upper portion of its body. When it spoke, the sound was melodic, incomprehensible. Translation systems ineffective, Hiroshi reported. The language structure is unlike anything in our databases. The alien seemed to understand the issue. It gestured, and the hologram shifted to show mathematical equations, then simple images. A star, planets, the alien vessel, and finally what appeared to be a predatory creature with sharp angles and dark coloration. It's trying to warn us, Nadia realized, just like in the original message. The alien continued its visual narrative, showing its damaged ship fleeing from multiple pursuing entities, then finding the relay station in the Kuiper belt and activating it. They didn't expect us, Dr. Akafer said. They expected whoever built the relay station. Which has been here for who knows how long, Colonel Khatri added grimly. The alien hologram changed again, showing a star map with a trajectory leading directly to their solar system. Multiple threat entities were indicated along the path. Whatever they're fleeing, Captain Chen said quietly, it's following them here. The communication continued for hours as both sides struggled to establish a working language. The aliens, which they learned called themselves something approximating meridian in human phonetics, had been fleeing through space for decades after their home system was attacked by entities they called void hunters. They're a refugee ship, Joquin explained during a brief break. The last of their kind, from what we can gather. Their species is suffering from some kind of engineered genetic plague that affects reproduction. They were seeking help from ancient allies who once maintained outposts in this system. Allies who are long gone, Nadia added solemnly. But they found us instead, Captain Chen said. Colonel Khatri had been in constant communication with Earth Command since the contact began. He approached the group with a grim expression. I've received new orders. We're to maintain communication, but inform the Meridian they cannot approach Earth or any populated human world until further assessment. They're dying, Dr. Okafor protested. Their ship is damaged and they're being pursued. Precisely why we must be cautious, Khatri replied. We can't risk bringing an interstellar war to our doorstep. The debate was interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the ship. Lieutenant Commander Hiroshi's voice cut through the noise. Multiple spatial distortions forming, same signature as before but different somehow. The view screens showed 3 new vortices opening, smaller than the first but with a jagged, unstable appearance. From each emerged a vessel that could only be described as predatory, angular, dark, and bristling with what were unmistakably weapon systems. The Meridian ship immediately shifted position, placing itself between the newcomers and the Hawking. The Void Hunters, Nadia whispered, they followed them here. The holographic alien appeared again, its movements now urgent. The images it projected showed the Hawking retreating while the Meridian engaged the pursuers. They're protecting us, Captain Chen realized. Colonel Khatri was already issuing orders. Full retreat, get us back to Neptune orbital range immediately. We can't just leave them, Nadia protested. We have no choice, Doctor, Khatri replied. Those vessels outclass anything in our arsenal, this isn't our fight. As the Hawking began to withdraw, the Meridian broadcast one final message, a complex data package that downloaded directly into their systems. Hiroshi looked up from his analysis in awe. It's everything, he said. Their history, science, knowledge of the galaxy. They're giving us everything they know. Through the view screens, they watched as the Meridian engaged the Void Hunters in a battle of light and energy beyond human comprehension. The damaged refugee ship fought with surprising effectiveness, destroying one pursuer before taking devastating hits from the others. Why would they sacrifice themselves for us? Captain Chen asked as they accelerated away from the battle. Nadia studied the data streaming across her display, star charts revealing hundreds of inhabited systems, technology beyond human imagination, and warnings about threats lurking in the darkness between stars. Because they recognized what we are, she said softly. New, vulnerable, potential allies in a galaxy more dangerous than we ever imagined. As the Hawking raced toward the relative safety of the inner solar system, humanity's place in the universe had irrevocably changed. They were no longer alone, no longer ignorant of what lay beyond their solar cradle. The Meridian's sacrifice had given them knowledge and warning that would forever alter their path among the stars. In her quarters later, watching the data from the continuing battle in the Kuiper Belt, Nadia found herself whispering to the distant aliens who had answered a call never meant for them. We hear you now, and we will remember.